Now it is time for a segment called Take It or Leave It, where producer Taylor is out here to join me, and he's going to give me some stuff, and I'm going to either take it or leave it. And Taylor, I want to first say, I know I call This Week in Shohei Ohtani News my favorite segment, but I don't want that to hurt your feelings, because I also love this segment, my friend, and I'm happy to have you out.
Wow, I'll take second place with you every day.
Well, it's second place to Shohei, and
hey,
most people.
I'll take it all day.
All right, let's get to it.
All right, after the Dodgers really stuck it to my Padres, the question is this Dodgers team better than their 2020 World Series team? Take it or leave it.
Look, the Dodgers are good. And on the Monday episode, the Dodgers are the number one team in my power rankings now. But come on. No, I am leaving it. They're not better than the 2020 World Series team. And the reason I say that is because this team is just running through the regular season, right? They are dominating in the regular season. They're actually on pace to break their all-time franchise record for wins in a season. But I have my concerns when it comes to playoff time. The lineup is great. The pitching has held up and been fantastic. Best team ERA. But one, that team won a World Series, and I'm not going to declare this team better than them until they can also prove that they can win a World Series. Then I think you can start having that conversation. But the 2020 team won a World Series. I don't think this team is better. I do have my concerns with this team, and it comes from the pitching side. The starting pitching, when it turns October, when you're running out there against great teams in the playoffs, whether it be the Mets, the Braves, the Padres, who they just looked really good against, or the Yankees, Astros, whoever it's going to be from that side. Pitching-wise, it scares me. Game one, are we hoping Walker Buehler, who hasn't pitched most of the year, who's hopefully coming back here in a little while, are you expecting him to be a game one starter in a playoff series? Tony Gonsolin, who had a historic first half of the year. That takes nothing away from that, but I think a little bit of a regression to the mean was coming. I actually said that around the All-Star break, and we're seeing that. I don't want that to happen by any means, but look, just a minuscule ERA in the low ones for a full season was never expected. Is he the guy? Is Tony Gonsolin your big game one starter? Tyler Anderson, Julio Urias, who hasn't been great this year. Are you counting on Dustin May to come back and be a dominant playoff force? There's so many question marks that it just worries me for the playoffs. That's my concern. They're going to win the division. They're going to be good in the playoffs. But are they as good as the 2020 team? I don't know. Clayton Kershaw, I haven't even mentioned him. Kershaw has been out for a while with his injury, comes back, looks pretty dang good again. Now he's hurt again with his lower back injury. There's just so many question marks that for now I have to leave it and say this Dodgers team is not better than the World Series champion 2020 Dodgers team.
Completely agree. Can't compare them until they win the title.
Yep.
That's all it comes down to.
Yep.
All right, moving on to a guy that I'm very fond of, who I don't think gets talked about enough. Dylan Cease is a Cy Young finalist. Take it or leave it.
Oh, I'm taking it. And look, Dylan Cease, you're right. He's not talked about enough. It's because the White Sox just haven't been very good this year. But when it comes to dominant, I just got sidetracked here. How is this guy not an all-star? Earned runs allowed in Dylan Cease's last 13 starts. Listen to this. Earned runs allowed. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1. What? Why aren't we talking about this guy on the biggest of big scales? This guy is dominant. I am absolutely taking it that Dylan Cease will be a Cy Young finalist. That mustache is incredible. He is incredible. Dylan Cease's 0.42 ERA is the second lowest over an 11 start span in a single season since 1913. Cease deserves a ton of credit for what he is doing, and I'm taking it that he will be a Cy Young finalist.
Completely agree. If your brother wasn't putting up video game numbers, I think he's the front runner right now.
Yeah, he's definitely in that final. I think a fair final three right now would be Justin, Dylan Cease, Shane McClanahan. In no particular order with Cease and McClanahan, I do think.
We got some starts to go. We'll see what happens.
Plenty of starts to go, plenty of time, but as of right now, not as of right now. I that's the whole point of this. I'm taking it that Dylan Cease will be a Cy Young finalist.
Yeah. All right, moving on to something that we've talked about quite at length here. This is NL Central. Brewers, Cardinals, back and forth, nonstop. But right now, Cardinals looking really good. Will the Cardinals win the NL Central? Take it or leave it?
Take it. I am taking it, and I am very disappointed. Not mad. I am very disappointed in the Brewers. I really like the Brewers. I really like their team. I really like the way the roster is built. I really like the starting rotation. Corbin Burns, friend of the pod, Brandon Woodruff, Freddie Peralta. And then you had Devin Williams, who was unbelievable, and Josh Hader at the back end of the bullpen. Well, trade deadline comes. You have a first-place team, and you're sellers as a first-place team? Josh Hader, one of the most dominant closers in baseball, is gone. Devin Williams, who is dominant and is now in the closer spot, but even players had to come out and be like, yeah, I don't really know. This is a tough one to swallow. Josh was a big part of our team. He was a dominant closer at the back end. They did nothing. So I am very disappointed. I had the Brewers winning the division, and I now no longer do because they didn't get better at the trade deadline. The Cardinals did. They went out and added starting pitching, which they needed desperately. Shout out Jordan Montgomery, by the way, who last second gets surprisingly traded from the Yankees to the Cardinals and then goes out and absolutely shoves against the Yankees in his first start for the Cardinals. That was great to see. Look, I'm taking it. I am taking that the Cardinals win the NL Central because, yes, they improved their team. They got better. And the Brewers didn't do enough, and it is disappointing. So when it comes to the NL Central, I think the Cardinals win.
Got it. Now, moving on to a question I'm not exactly stoked about, but my Padres haven't necessarily looked great since Soto's debut, but Dodgers stuck it to him this weekend. The Padres will miss the playoffs. Take it or leave it.
Come on. I'm leaving it. The Padres are making the playoffs. Let's not get too carried away. The first game, Juan Soto's there. This team looked incredible. Some people out there were saying, this is the greatest team of all time. That was me, sarcastically. But they looked really good. And then they lose the next game to the Rockies. Not a big deal, 1-1. And then they go and face the Dodgers, who are a great baseball team. I'm not looking too much into this. The Padres are a great team. They're in a good position. When it comes to the NL wildcard race, I don't know what's going to happen. Look, the NL wildcard race is going to come down between. There's basically four teams, okay? Braves or Mets. So the loser of the NL East race, the loser of the NL Central race, Padres, and then probably the Phillies. So there's four teams involved here. The Padres are certainly going to be one of the teams that make it. I feel the most confident about the Padres and the Braves or Mets, but I believe it's going to be the Braves. But I'm very confident the Padres make the playoffs. I'm leaving it that they miss the playoffs. They will be in.
Me and you both. Look at us.
Look at us. Who would have thought?
Moving on to a team that has struggled of late. Some would say it's the curse of Joey Gallo. But the Yankees won't finish with the most wins in the American League. Take it or leave it.
So this comes down to the Astros. And it's the Astros and the Yankees who finishes with the best record in the AL. I'm gonna say Yankees won't finish with the best record in the AL. So I'm going to take it. I believe the Astros finished with the better record. Look, the Yankees haven't been very good. In July, they're under 500 since the All-Star break. They're under 500. The Astros are good. Head-to-head, the Astros have dominated the Yankees this year. But look, when it comes down to it, the top 2 seeds are what's important, right? The top 2 seeds get the bye, and that's what you need to be in that 1 or 2 slot. So do I think these teams are going to be like, we need the most wins in the American League? No. But the Yankees really worry me. There's some concerns there. They did a good job at the deadline improving their team. But since the All-Star break, it is not good. And the Astros have been pretty good, up and down, but for the most part, pretty good. So I'm going to say the Astros finished with the most wins in the American League.
Who do you think gives the Yankees the most trouble out of those wild card teams?
So out of the wild card teams, we're looking at Blue Jays, Mariners,
Rays.
I don't see how you don't say. I think the Blue Jays and the Mariners are honestly a good matchup for them. I think the Yankees are a better team than both of them. But I think the Blue Jays and the Mariners are good teams. All of them. You know, with the Yankees playing the way they are, those wild card teams are dangerous. You come into the playoffs hot, playing for your life. You get in, you're like, okay, finally, we have some games where we can, you know, like we have a series we can play. We don't have to win every single game. So those wild card teams get in, they're trouble. But who can match up well against them? Honestly, of all of them, the Blue Jays probably match up the worst against them because they're offensively driven. But I think the Blue Jays can do a good job against them. I think the Yankees have some pitching issues they need to figure out. I think the Mariners proved that they can go into Yankee Stadium and play well against them. Look, pitching, if you can match up with the Yankees in the playoffs, if you can shut down their lineup. So of all of them, this might be a surprise, but here was the follow-up you asked, and I just said, well, let me think about this. Of all of them, I think the Mariners match up really well against
that
them.
rotation. Sneaky.
That rotation is sneaky. And if you get Robbie Ray being the Robbie Ray of last year and that we've seen flashes of over the past couple of months, you're looking at a rotation of Luis Castillo, Logan Gilbert, Robbie Ray in a shorter series or in a 5-game series, even a 7-game series. You don't need more than that. You can throw those 3 guys every time. I like the Mariners. To answer the question, I think the Mariners match up better. Do I think the Mariners beat the Yankees in a series? No, I'm not saying that, but they do match up well.
That's my thought as well.
All right.